So how does the speaker deal with all these? Because these are all strong allies.
Well, he does surrogates,
Ah,
right? So a guy like me, he sends to go talk to Louis. And then I come back, and 2 weeks later we're at dinner, and he says, "Mike, you still doing it?" I said, "Speaker, I've talked to him 6 times, right?" So so then when he wants to do, and then Louis wants to ask for a favor, he sends like his chief of staff to find out what he wants, right? So
smart.
you gotta.
He's got to be one of the smartest, not individuals, not just elected officials that I've met during my tenure.
Mike's here.
Hey, Mike. Okay, how are you?
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. So I was a little bit concerned with what you said that an alderman had met about a year ago with somebody.
Yeah, with IDOT, Illinois Department of Transportation.
Yeah, I think that was the state rep.
You think it was Acevedo?
Acevedo, yeah, because there was another businessman in Chinatown by the name of Sam Ma that had previously talked to me about developing that site. But it never went anywhere because he could never come up with the partners that had the money to do it. In the past, I have been able to steer some work to Mike. And these guys will do the same thing. And then, so I'm hoping whatever happens in this 2018 election, that this is going to go through.
Right. So, why don't we let's see how Nancy does.
Okay.
But then let's stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it looks like she's meeting no resistance, I don't think she will, frankly. But if she does, then we'll do a dual path, and we'll also get you inside the Pritzker group.
You lost me.
Okay, so let's say that IDOT says, nah, we don't want to give anything to, we don't want to work with the city.
Oh, I got it.
Okay? So instead of just keeping it quiet, if that's what we think is happening, then we want to get inside the Pritzker group, so in 2019, the Pritzker IDOT will say okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll do a dual path.
It's a dual path, but at this point you think that on this side of the Browner camp, because of Nancy's relationship, it could still go through anyway.
Mm-hmm. So let's see how she does. Mm-hmm. Why don't we let her go for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then you and I stay in touch, and if at some point in time we think that she's not going to be successful, then we'll run that other dual path.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Mike will help out on his end no matter what. Good, good. Do you have any questions in terms of?
I don't think so. So if this is okay with you, what I was going to do is introduce Nancy to you. Then, since it's your ward, if you want to introduce them to Eddie and Ray, and then after you guys sit down, I'll excuse myself.
Okay. And then I'm going to make the same point to Nancy that I made to you, that as she continues to follow up, I'd like to be included.
Sure.
In the follow-up.
I'll reinforce that.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, except for the beginning, I've not had a really good relationship with Eddie. Tony's much better, but Eddie and Marty in particular. And so I just take care of my own, take care of my ward.
I just met a guy for breakfast, and he's getting to know Marty, and I said, well, just be careful.
He's very aggressive.
Very aggressive.
And he says and does some things that I think eventually will get him in trouble.
Yeah, I do too. He doesn't know where, the easiest thing to say is, he wants to meet, let's say you're president of a company, he wants to meet with you. And he's meeting with you, and then he says, and oh, by the way,
Here's my company.
yeah, and you go,
Or he'll go, where's mine?
yeah, right. It's just, so I told this guy today, I said, you got to have a prover with you all the time. Don't meet with him by yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's just, some people, they say these outrageous things that you can't say anymore.
Well, you know who's very similar to that is Arroyo.
Yeah, he is.
Arroyo would come here with his wife and says, you know, my wife's a lobbyist and for zoning and developers. And I said, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I think, so like I tried to tell Louis not to do that anymore,
Yeah.
but he still does it, and so he just kind of, I heard on the news that the Department of Justice is sending 40 assistant U.S. attorneys into Chicago to help with gangs. These guys don't want to be in the gangs. They're going to want to go
They're
after,
looking for their future.
yeah, they want to go after somebody like a Arroyo or Chewy or, you know, Sandoval. I mean, and that's what they'll want to do.
Yeah.
They'll want to go after white collar crime.
I'm a little bit. I'm surprised that nothing's happened with them before.
Yeah, because they're too blatant. And it's just kind of like in my world, Springfield. Your world's here, my world is Springfield. I mean, people openly talk about it. So
Really?
So it's not like it's a secret that only 20 people know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could be at a bar talking to somebody and somebody will say, oh yeah, well, Mr. Alderman, if you go in to see Louis, you ought to take somebody with you so that you have somebody to say, no, that's not what was said. I mean, don't go by yourself. I mean, that's what people will say.
Wow.
So it's pretty common.
So how does the speaker deal with all these? Because these are all strong allies. A few more minutes.
Oh, there's your...
Okay. Excuse me.
Bless you, bless you. Well, he does surrogates,
Ah.
right? So a guy like me, he sends to go talk to Louis. And then I come back, and 2 weeks later we're at dinner, and he says, Mike, he's still doing it. I said, Speaker, I've talked to him 6 times, right? And so so then when he wants to do, and then Louis wants to ask for a favor, he sends like his chief of staff to find out what he wants, right? So
Smart.
you gotta, or if Louis comes in and he sees him, he brings in Tim Mapes to sit with him. So
Smart.
you just gotta,
He's got to be one of the smartest, not individuals, not just elected officials that I've met during my tenure.